Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with Ricky Layton. He's the director of an upcoming film, Downeast Hardcore, Stories from The Kave. It's about a local underground metal music venue that closed a few years ago. Ricky, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so first, for everybody listening, a lot of folks aren't going to know what this is. Can you tell us what is The Kave and what's hardcore music?
Sure. The Cave was a music venue in Bucksport, Maine, up in the woods, away from Main Street. It really existed from 2002 to about 2016.
Yep.
And it hosted a variety of hardcore and heavy metal bands that were nationally recognized, even internationally.
Right. Yeah,
So-
I've seen a lot about it since then. I'll go on Reddit and I'll still see people talking about it, especially on like the metal music scene in the main thread. But yeah, people miss it.
Yeah, and that's not just the people who live here. That includes the bands that still tour to this day. They would travel. They'd be on the road, New York, Boston, and they would go out of their way to come up here to Bucksport.
Right.
So they could get a home-cooked meal by Kathy, get a place to sleep, and visit the family that's up here.
Right, yeah. So on that note, Kathy is a major, she's like kind of the role model here. Can you talk about her a little bit?
Absolutely. So Kathy was an occupational therapist in the Bucksport area and was working with some students, and she noticed that they were really into this heavier music, drumming on their tables and stuff like that. So she started to host her own shows at different churches and VFW halls and whatnot, and eventually opened up her own venue, which was The Cave, and provided this amazing space for kids to, it was always chem-free, and it was always all ages, so they could come there and they could just listen to the music they love with people that enjoy it too.
So it's kind of, you know, the juxtaposition between these kids might get their teeth kicked out in the mosh pit, but it is a safe space for kids to, you know, explore music and to make friends and stuff like that. That's really unique. And you were saying before we went on too, the Bucksport community kind of, you know, let them do their thing, right?
Yeah, they were fine with it. Even the neighbors were really good. There was a
so
graveyard on one side, so it was pretty quiet.
Right.
But they could come there. There was a variety of bands. It wasn't just hardcore music, which is, you know, heavier, more screaming.
What type of metal is hardcore though?
So hardcore, you know, you have New York and Boston that really fueled that scene, and it's really dictated by the screaming vocals, which are very powerful.
Is it
and
like
passionate.
death metal?
No, death metal would be a little more guttural.
Okay.
But hardcore, you know, that's where you're fist pumping and you're screaming in someone's face. If you go on Instagram, any of the social media venues, you can see bands to this day where people are stage diving.
Right.
They're grabbing the mic from the lead singer and
Right.
screaming the lyrics out.
Right.
So that's really how that's separated. Heavy metal, you know, it's guitar driven. So these are subgenres of these genres,
Right.
but you know, they have their own cult following, and it used to be separated.
Yeah.
But The Cave brought them all together. It didn't matter what type of show it was. People went there because it was The Cave.
Oh, yeah, and because of the community, too. Okay, and you're fundraising for this film that you're doing. You've been interviewing people to share their experiences and stuff like that. Can you talk about the fundraising efforts and the work?
Definitely. We were very grateful to receive a grant from the Maine Community Foundation, which allowed us to get this project started. And our fiscal sponsor, the New Surrey Theater in Blue Hill, allows us to apply for nonprofit grants and fundraise as a nonprofit. And that's allowed us to give paying gigs to local artists, cinematographers, graphic designers.
Wow.
And so to finish this thing out, we launched a GoFundMe, as well as a merch store, which is being printed by Hamilton Industries in Lewiston. And all of the money that we raise is going directly to the film.
Cool. So where can folks stay up to date on this, on your process, learn more, and maybe reach out?
Yes, we have a website, thekavefilm.com.
Yep.
That has both links to our GoFundMe and our merch store. And we are on all the social media platforms. We're posting lots of throwback pictures and archival footage, so it's a good follow.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have to stay in touch as work continues. Ricky, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Of course.